So Zion, how many people live in this house?
4.
4 people, okay. Because we're talking about how the Australian government knows how many people live in Australia.
Yeah.
And you're saying the day Australia turned 24 million, you don't think it's possible?
Because someone could have died, they could have been born, and then if you add that number, if you add another number or 2 or how many, or take away how many, it doesn't equal the same number as you think it is.
I agree. So, let's try to think about it, okay? So we live in this house, and you know how many people live in this house. How many people live in this house?
4.
4. And how many people live in Nanny and Poppy's house?
4.
Okay. How about Auntie Karina and Uncle Dave? If you go to their house, how many people live in their house?
4.
4. Wow. That's interesting. Which other family do you know? You know the Johnsons, right?
Yeah.
How many people do you think live in their house?
3.
3.
I know the Sebastian.
You know Sebastian and his family. How many people live in that house?
4.
4. Wow. How about Cohen? How many people live in their house? Yeah, try to count it because you know the whole family. How many kids have they got?
6. 4.
They've got 4 kids with 2 parents.
Yeah.
Therefore 6.
6.
So all of a sudden, Zion, even you alone know how many people live in different houses, right? The Australian government also knows how many people live in houses all over Australia. You know, so there were 4 people that were living in this house. But when we went to Ghana, how many people were living in this house?
None.
0, because we went to Ghana. So there are times when you will know the number, but it may not always be accurate because people are going in and coming out. And like you said, some people are being born and others, and some people are dying, right? Which is very, very true. But here's the thing. If you remember when Nanny and Poppy traveled to Europe, when they left, how many people were left in that house?
2.
Good. Do you know when someone travels outside Australia, the Australian government knows? Do you know that? Do you know how they know?
Because they see the security cameras?
Well, yeah, that's one. Then number 2, people exit the country or leave the country with their passport. And when they leave with their passport, it is registered that this person has left Australia. So there is also something called census. Census is the exercise in which people are counted throughout Australia. So the last time we did it, you were very, very, very young, so you didn't know, right? Every single person in Australia over a certain period of time would have to fill a form. On the form, they show where they are living, how many people live in that house, and if they have any babies, even the baby has to be declared, and so on.
What about if they're living on the side of the road? Like if they're poor and like they're on the streets in the city?
Those ones are also counted. You know, they employ some people to go around counting even people who are homeless. And they go and do the counting in all the jails. They go to all the hospitals. They go to everywhere. They go doctors everywhere, right? And then, so the next question might be, let's say if a baby is born in the next house, do you think the Australian government will know?
Yes.
How would the Australian government know?
Because they count how many people are in the houses and they fill out the form about the babies. But what if they have like babies and they've already filled out the form?
Good question. So what happens is the counting or the statistics, the information is gathered every single day. For example, when a baby is born today, most of the time, where is the baby born? Usually in the hospital?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know the moment you are born in a hospital, something happens, they start filling a form to say, this baby has been born on this date, and it's a boy or a girl, and then or twins. Right? And then they write the baby's name, and then that information, boom, goes to the government.
Yeah. So they know.
So then they know. And also, if someone dies, do you know the government is able to tell when someone dies?
No.
Yes. When someone dies, by law, like we know Brother Peter died, very sadly last year. When a person dies, when Brother Peter dies, and anybody else, there's a law that says you must report the death on a document which is sent to the government. So there is an organization called the Births, Deaths, and Marriages. So when someone gets married,
They have to tell her.
they have to tell the government.
Otherwise, it'll just be a secret, and then they don't know if the person is married or if they're single, and then they might do something wrong, but they're actually married.
Exactly. So when you marry, you go to that office and register it. When someone dies, you go to that office and register it. When someone is born, either you go to that office and register it, or the hospital where the person is born is registered, or you register for so many different things, like a place called Centerlink. You have to register there, and as you keep growing, you open a bank account. For example, we have a small bank account for you. The government knows. So because of all that, it is possible to tell how many people are in the country. And that counting, is done regularly, almost every day. So the organization that keeps track of that is called the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Can you say that?
Australian Bureau of Statistics.
Statistics, yeah. So statistics is a lot of information, and how.
Daddy, I already forget out.
Sure, no problem. But you're not feeling cold, are you?
No.
That's good. Yeah. So that's how come we can tell. So I'm downloading the app for the Australian the Australian Bureau of Statistics,
Okay.
and I will show it to you. I'll show you a lot more information. For example, they can tell how many people in Australia are 60 years old.
Really?
Yeah, they can tell.
They have to tell how old they are as well.
They can, yeah.
So that the government knows that I'm 6 years old and I'm turning 7.
They know how many people are below the age of 10 all over Australia. They know how many people, like you, and they know how many people are above the age of 60 or 70 in all of Australia, like Poppy. So it's really, really fascinating.